Today we are going to be looking at simultaneous equations. To start us off, what do you think the word simultaneous means? Good. Simultaneous means things that happen at the same time. So with simultaneous equations, we've got equations, at least two, they're all happening at the same time. We're going to be aiming to solve these and find the unknown variables. In other words, find x and find y. So there are a couple of key things to know before we try a simultaneous equation. Firstly, you should make sure that you are happy solving normal, simple linear equations, like those that we were doing earlier in the week. Secondly, you need to make sure that you know that anything take away itself is equal to 0. For example, 5 take away 5 equals 0, or x take away x equals 0. Z take away z equals, 0. And y take away y equals 0. So we know our key bits of information, or we know how to solve linear equations, and we also know that anything take away itself is equal to 0, and we're going to need those shortly. Now we said that simultaneous equations, simultaneous meant more than one thing, and equations, we know what an equation is, so we're going for two equations at the same time. So now we need our two equations. For our two equations, we've got two bits of information here. We've got 3x and we've got 3x here, and we've got a y and we've got a minus y here. Now we want one of those to be equal to 0 so that we're left with a normal linear equation, and that we know how to solve. The key bit of information from earlier was that anything take away itself is equal to 0. So here we got 3x, here we got 3x. So if we did 3x take away 3x, it would equal 0. We've also got this plus y and this minus y. So if we did y and we added a minus y, an add and a minus together are the same as a take away, so that would effectively become y take away y, which would also be equal to 0. So really, it doesn't matter which one you choose, but you need to make sure that it's going to become equal to 0. Now, I'm going to use these y's, which means that I'm going to have to add together, remember? So I'm going to write an add on the left-hand side, so I know what I'm doing. And that means that all of this is being added to everything up here. 3x plus 3x gives me 6x, and y plus minus y plus minus y is the same as y take away y, which is equal to 0. 7 plus 5 is equal to 12, so x is equal to 12 divided by 6, because 6x means 6 times x, we take it to the side to become a divide. So x is equal to 12 divided by 6 is 2, x equals 2. I'm just going to underline that so that we know that that is one of our answers, so we can come back to it easily. Now that we know what x is, we're solving for both of these actually at the same time. So x is the same in here as it is in here. So we need to find one of these y's. To do that, because we know what the x is, it's equal to 2, we can substitute it into one of these equations in here. Substitute it into one of the equations. You can choose either equation, doesn't really matter. For me, I'm liking the fact that I got a positive y here, so I'm going to substitute it into the first equation. I've written out the first equation, so I'm ready to substitute. So I'm going to write 3. I'm replacing the x with a 2. So 3x means 3 times x, so 3 times 2 plus y is equal to 7. 3 2s are 6. We've still got the plus y, and we've still got the 7. Now if I move this 6 here over to the other side, it becomes a takeaway 6. So y is equal to 7 take away 6. 7 take away 6 is 1. So y equals 1. Remember, I was underlining my answers so I knew where they are clearly. So now when I go back and I see all of my working, you can see that x is equal to 2 and y equals 1. I have solved the linear equation. I'm going to leave that there as an example for you, and I'm going to give you your first question. Question 1. 2x plus y equals 7 and 3x minus y equals 8. Have a go at that yourselves and then try and answer it. I'll go through it step by step if needed in a second. Unfortunately, it looks like you still need a little bit more help with these, so we'll have a look. Remember that I said anything take away itself is equal to 0, and we know that an add and a minus is the same as a minus. So here we've got plus y minus y, so if I do plus y add minus y, it's the same as doing y take away y, which is going to be equal to 0 down here. So that means that I'm going to add the two together. 2x plus 3x is equal to 5x plus y plus minus y, we've just said is the same as y take away y, which is equal to 0, and 7 plus 8 is equal to 15. I'm just going to give myself a little bit more room. And this is the same as having 5x is equal to 15. We know that 5 times x is the same as 5x, so when the times comes over to the side, it becomes a divide. So x is equal to 15 divided by 5, x equals 3. Okay, that was good if you had that first step. Now the second step, remember, was to take one of these top equations and to substitute x in. Now if you remember rightly, I said that we can look back over here if we want to refer back to it. I preferred the one with the plus y in rather than the minus y, just because it makes things a little bit easier. So I'm going to choose the first equation to substitute in, this one up here. So first of all, I'm going to write that equation back out, copy it down, 2x plus y is equal to 7. And then I'm going to substitute my value of x in, so I've got 2 times by 3 plus y equals 7. 2 3s are 6, plus y equals 7. Move this plus 6 over to the side, so it becomes a minus 6. Y is equal to 7, take away 6. Y equals 1. Now at this point, I can do one of two things. I've got my answer up here, which I'm going to underline, and I've got my answer here, which I can underline, or I can actually write them out again so it is really clear, and I've got x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 1. You just need to make sure your answer is clear. Okay, so if you want an overview of all of that, that's sort of our working going down. Well done, you've got the correct answer. Okay, so I've done the working quickly so I can run through it just as you should have added them both together because you've got this plus y and minus y here. After that, you would have got 5x is equal to 15, therefore x is equal therefore x is equal to 3, underlining that in the process. Then you put in 2x plus y is equal to 7, which gives you 6 plus y is equal to 7, so therefore y is equal to 1. And what I did to finish it off was I actually wrote it out as x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 1, just so that the answer is really clear. Okay? Good. Okay, so the ones we've just done are the easiest simultaneous equations. Now we're going to move on to ones that are slightly more tricky, and we're going to use the equations y minus 2x is equal to 1 and 2y minus 3x is equal to 5. I didn't say it before, but it's probably worth bearing in mind that whenever you write out a simultaneous equation, your y needs to be underneath your other y, your x needs to be underneath your other x, and your number needs to be on its own, needs to be underneath the number on its own over here. Hopefully you've recognised that. If not, we need to do that now. Now for this type, we actually want to label the equations as equation 1 and equation 2. And for all of the more difficult ones, that's what we'll do. Because here, we haven't got a y that's the same or an x that's the same. The other thing is that the y has the same sign as the other y, and the x has the same sign as the other x. So those are our two things now to bear in mind. Now I know that if I multiply y by 2, I'm going to get 2y. So the whole of this first equation I'm going to times by 2. Okay, you can write it to the right, you can write it to the left. Providing you know what you're doing, that's okay. So I'm going to write equation 1 is equal to y times 2 gives me 2y. Minus 2x times by 2 gives me minus 4x, and 1 times 2 gives me 2. Hopefully you can see what I've done there. If not, jump back again and go over these again. Okay, now I know that a number that's the same, so this 2y here and this 2y here, if I take one away from the other, I'm going to get an answer of 0, and that's what I'm after, remember? So the whole of this equation here, I'm going to do a takeaway. You can write your sign either to the left or to the right, but make it clear that you know what you're doing. 2y take away 2y is equal to 0. 3x take away minus 4x. 3x, then we're doing a takeaway, remember. Minus 3x take away minus 4x is the same as doing minus 3x plus 4x. So minus 3 add on 4 is going to give me an answer of 1, and it's an x. So it's just x on its own is equal to 5 take away 2, which is equal to 3. Okay, same again. If you've got lost with any of those parts, jump the video back, quickly go over them again to make sure that you're happy. I've actually now just got my answer. My answer is x is equal to 3. I'm underlining it so that I know where I'm going. And now I get to move on to the next part, which is where I substitute in. So I can choose either of these two equations up here and substitute x equals 3 in. Now I'm going to choose the one right the way up here. It actually also wouldn't matter if I chose this one here, because all three of those are my first equations. I've just times this one all by 2. But I'm going to choose the one where y is on its own, just because it will make it simpler for the working out. So first of all, I need to write down equation 1, because that's what equation it is. Then copy it down, y minus 2x equals 1. Then after that, I'm going to substitute my value of x equals 3 in. So it will be substituted into here. Y minus 2 times 3 is equal to 1. Minus 2 times 3 gives me minus 6, because a minus times a positive gives me a minus number. So y minus 6 equals 1. Y is equal to 1 plus 6. Y equals 7. And that's an answer. So remember, I'm underlining my answers. And just to make it really clear at the end, I can write out x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 7. Underline them as my answers. Okay, so those are the next tricky ones, the next level of difficulty. You can see there's a bit more working. We've had to use extra steps that we didn't have beforehand, just in order to lay out our working. Here you have question 2 to try by yourselves. Remember to label it up as equation 1 and equation 2. Remember to label it up as equation 1 and equation 2. Have a go at doing this for yourself. Okay, it looks like you still need a bit of help with these, which is fine. So remember, we're labeling equation 1 and equation 2. I'm looking for something that is the same, or I can easily make to being the same. So in this case, I can't times the y by something else to get, I can't times 3 by something else just to get 4. So I'm going to go to my x's this time instead. So the whole of this bottom equation here, I'm timesing it by 2. X times by 2 is going to give me 2x. So in this time, this equation is actually still equation 2 now. And 4y times by 2 is 8y. And 11 times 2 is 22. Okay, the signs are the same here and here. Two ways I could be doing this now. I know that I'm going to have to do a takeaway, so I want my bigger numbers kind of on top. So my 8 here is bigger than my 3 here, and my 22 here is bigger than my 12 here. So I want equation 1 to be on the bottom. So I'm going to write out equation 1 underneath equation 2. 2x plus 3y is equal to 12. And now, when I'm doing my takeaway, I don't need anything that's above this line. I'm going to take these two numbers away from each other. 2x take away 2x gives me 0. 8y take away 3y gives me 5y. 22 take away 12 gives me 10. Y is equal to 10 divided by 5. Y is equal to 2. Now I'm not giving as much explanation of how to do these solving equations parts, because we've been recapping those again and again. So if you're still stuck on those, you do need to be going over them. Right, that's an answer, so I underline my answer as I go, so that it's nice and clear. Now I'm going to substitute, and I want to substitute into one of my original equations. So either 2x plus 3y equals 12, or x plus 4y equals 11. I'm going to choose x plus 4y equals 11, just because it will make my working simpler as I go through. So I'm going to write out it's equation 2, not question 2, it is question 2 as well. X plus 4y is equal to 11. And then I'm going to substitute my value of y is equal to 2 into the equation here. So I've got x plus 4 times 2 equals 11. Notice that all along my equal signs have been in a line going down. X plus 8 equals 11. X is equal to 11. Take away 8. X equals 3. That's an answer, so I underline it. And if I'm being really clear, I write out y is equal to 2. X equals 3. Well done if you got that. Quick recap then. I times my equation 2 by 2 so that I'd have 2x and 2x. After that, I did my equation 2, take my equation 1, because I could see that the numbers were bigger when it was in equation 2 than in equation 1, so that would give me a simpler answer. That gave me a y value of 2. Then I substituted my y value of 2 into my second equation, x plus 4y equals 11, to give me x plus 8 equals 11, to give me x equals 3, and then I finished it off by just having y equals 2, x equals 3. Well done if you got that. If you need to have a quick look back, have a look back now. Okay, so we've got one last type to do, and then we're done with the homework, you'll be glad to hear. Okay, the last type is the trickiest. Here, we don't have any x's that are the same or any y's that are the same, and I can't times 2 by anything to get to 3, and I can't times 3 by anything to get to 2. So, first of all, start as we did before by labelling it as equation 1 and equation 2. Now this time I'm going to be writing my multiplication over to the right hand side. And what I have to do is I have to times the whole of equation 1 by the number in front of either the x or the y. But whichever one I use, I have to stick with the same one. So I choose either to do the x's or the y's. Okay, don't get mixed up between the two. I'm going to choose the x's. So for the first equation here, I'm going to be timesing it all by 2. So I write out times by 2. And for the second equation here, I'm going to be timesing it all by 3 up here. So, equation 1. 3x times 2 gives me 6x. 2y times 2 gives me plus 4y. And double 16 is 32. Equation 2 now. Two x times 3 gives me 6x. 3y times 3 gives me 9y. And that's a plus 9y. And 14 times 3 gives me 42. Now you should be able to see that the x's are now got the same number in front of them, 6. Just out of interest, that number is called the coefficient. But when I look through, the equation that is bigger is this one here. See, 9 is bigger than 4, and 42 is bigger than 32. So that actually means that I want equation 1 on the bottom, just to make the working out a little bit easier for me. So I write out equation 1 again, and now what I'm going to do is just do a line going across, just so that I know that I don't want to use anything above that line now to solve this next part. 6x take away, because remember the signs are the same. If the signs are the same, I do a take away. If the signs are different, I do an add. 6x take away 6x is equal to 0. 9 take away 4y is equal to 5y. 42 take away 32 is equal to 10. Y is equal to 10 divided by 5. Y equals 2. That's an answer, so you should know that I underline it. Now, remember, I go back to the first, because all this part now, the only bit that was different for this question was this first multiplication part. Everything else, it's solved in the same way. I have a look. None of them are too easy. I'm substituting into y, so I'm just going to choose equation 1. I'm going to substitute into 3x plus 2y equals 16. 3x plus 2y equals 16. And remember, I'm substituting the value of y equals 2 into this y here. 3x plus 2 times by 2 equals 16. Two 2's are 4. So 3x plus 4 equals 16. I'm going to take that plus 4 over to the other side. 16 take away 4, because the plus becomes a take away, is equal to 12. And that's 3x is equal to 12. Now I take the 3 over to the other side, and that becomes 12 divided by 3. X is equal to 12 divided by 3, which is 4. X equals 4. That's an answer, so I underline it. I go back to my other answer, and I can write out y equals 2 and x equals 4. I underline both the answers, just to make it really clear. Okay, if you need to go through any of those again, jump back in the video, have a quick recap. I'm going to give you your next question now. Right, here's question 3 for you to try. Have a go, remember to label it up. I've left the example here on the left hand side for you. I know it's a little bit small, but you can always jump back in the video if you need to. Okay, looks like we need to go over it again. So, just so I don't run out of room, I'm going to zoom into it. And remember, I start off by labelling in equation 1 and equation 2. I can't easily multiply any of them out, and none of the x's or the y's are the same. So I'm going to have to choose an x or choose a y. Actually, that's not true. If you noticed, if you were quick and clever, you'd have been able to do this one here. You'd have been able to times the whole 1 by 2 in order to get that one there. I'm actually going to show it by multiplying them out, just so that we're getting the hang of that. So I'm going to times all of the bottom one by 6. So I'm going to get rid of my y's now. Times all of the bottom one by 6. And all of the top one by 3. So I've used that 6 there to times it there, that 3 there to times it there. First of all then, equation 1. 7 times 3 gives me 21, and it's an x. Minus 6 times 3 gives me minus 18, and that's a y. 3 17s give me 51. equation 2 now, and timesing the whole of equation 2 by 6. 2 6's give me 12x, plus 3 6's give me 18y, and 19 6's, I'm actually going to use a calculator for that one. 114. Now remember, I look to see which numbers are bigger to make my takeaway or add a bit simpler. This time, if you see, this here is a minus, this is a plus, so I can add the two numbers together. So it doesn't really matter which number goes on the top when I add. So I'm going to do my add. Make sure I write in my add symbol to show the person marking it that I know what I'm doing. 21 plus 12 gives me 33. X minus 18, add on an 18, is equal to 0. 51 plus 114, 1 plus 4 gives me 5, 5 plus 1 gives me 6, 165. X is equal to 165 divided by 33. X is equal to 5. Okay, I have just done that in a calculator. I wouldn't necessarily expect you to be able to do that in your head. I underlined it to show that I know that that's an answer. And now I'm going to go back to one of my original equations up here and substitute in. And I'm substituting the x in, but really I want to choose the one where there's a positive y, just so that I don't have to deal with dividing by a negative. I can do that. It will still give me the same answer, whichever one I substitute into, but I go for the one with a positive y. So 2x plus 3y equals 19, and that's equation 2 that I'm using. So equation 2 2x plus 3y is equal to 19. Substituting this value of x here is equal to 5 into the equation, so 2 times 5 plus 3y equals 19. 2 5s are 10, plus 3y equals 19. 3y is equal to 19, take away 10, 3y equals 9, y equals 9, divided by 3, y equals 3. And it's an answer, so I underline it, and to show that I really know what I'm doing, I go back to my other answer, and I write out x is equal to 5, y is equal to 3. Underline that to show that's my final answer. And that's all my working out there for that question. Okay, well done. You may have managed to skip a step here and seen that if you had times the 3 by 2, you'd have got to the 6. But in the workings out, just to show you how to do it, I've actually done it the long way around. So just to go over this quickly, I decided to get rid of the y's, so I times equation 1 by 3 and equation 2 by 6. That gave me the answer of 21x minus 18y is equal to 51, and 12x plus 18y is equal to 114. Because I had a minus here and an add here, I added the two answers together, that's an add symbol, and that gave me 33x is equal to 165. So x was equal to 165 divided by 33, x was equal to 5. And then I'm substituting in. I chose the second equation because it had a positive y value, and that meant that my working out was easier with a positive y value than with a negative y value. That's the only reason why I chose it. Again, it will still work if you chose the other one. So that gave me 2 times 5 plus 3y is equal to 19, and 10 plus 3y is equal to 19. So 3y is equal to 19 to take away 10, 3y equals 9. So y is equal to 9 divided by 3, y was equal to 3, giving me a final answer of x equals 5, y equals 3. Right, well done. That was our lesson on simultaneous equations. If you've got any questions, note them down. I will expect you to bring all the examples and all of your attempts at the questions to lesson with you, ready to have a go at doing some of these in class.